Good morning. We're actually going to change a little bit because all morning we've been listening to young, spirited entrepreneurs. I am the other end of that equation. I am what you will grow up to be someday with any luck at all, which is still in the business, making money and have money in the bank. The Puccini Group is a company I formed 20 years ago. I started out, and I'm just going to do this briefly, as sort of a corporate entrepreneur. In the old days of the 70s, which were probably before some of you were born, there were, in the United States, basically emerging chains, all the things that we've been talking about recently, which is scalability and so on. In the old days, there were a lot of entrepreneurs, and they were rolling out concepts quickly, and my job was fundamentally to manage that. I was vice president of a national company at 30 and designing restaurants and opening them up all over the country for probably the next 10 years. And then in my 40s, I met Bill Kimpton. Bill Kimpton may not have much of a name recognition here in the Middle East. However, he was with Ian Schrager, one of the, basically the progenitors of lifestyle hotels in the United States. His idea was to have restaurants in his hotels that were popular for the community. And so he hired me. I became his partner ultimately, and we developed restaurants that were fully loaded P&Ls. We expect to make a 20% return on new properties. That is with, oops, I talk with my hands too much, with management fees, rent loads, and so on in them. So for that, I actually got to own a good deal of that company, which, by the way, is the other way to do well. And so we took that concept, and we were very successful with it. Now, the Puccini Group today is fundamentally about the reverse of that. It's finding businesses that need to have profitability added to them. In the hotel business, for those of you who are not in it, their P&Ls work along the lines of fundamentally a departmental profit for food and beverage. Now, food and beverage is the euphemism, what most of us would call restaurants. And I like to talk to hoteliers and say something like, when was the last time you said to your wife, honey, let's go out to a food and beverage outlet tonight and have a wonderful dinner? We don't do that. Because in our world, it's a restaurant. And what is a restaurant but an emotional piece of business? The Puccini Group has been around for 20 years. We are fundamentally designed to be an outsourced restaurant division for flags or owners who really don't have much depth. And for any of you who've operated within hotels, you know that there's maybe, like some major brands, you may be lucky if they have 5 people worldwide that are VPs of food and beverage that can help you with your problems. The reality, they don't really exist much, and they can't help much. So what we do is we try to create concepts that are grounded in the community that are around them. We provide coherent branding and marketing, full CD interior design, and then restaurant operations. Currently in the United States, we operate about $32 million worth of food and beverage business, mostly in hotels. And we do turnaround work, which is frankly the most fun for me. In the United States, and this is a trend, and by the way, we're working Macau, Hong Kong, KL, Jakarta, all over India, the Middle East here, in Ras Al Khaimah, in Abu Dhabi, and in Dubai, Eastern Europe, and in North and South America. This trend is something that just came out in Bloomberg last year. It's phenomenal. For the first time, dining out business dollars eclipsed dollars spent for groceries in the United States. Now, you may say, well, it's the United States. But the reality, this is a trend we see everywhere. More people are eating out. Why is that? Partially, it's because dining out has become more affordable, more easily accessible for everyone. So, to my point, how do you decide what is the right concept to put into any business, whether it's a hotel or on the street? We look at a number of factors: psychographics, trade area trends, demographics, financial review, and functional design. Let me just take a moment about the word psychographics. I don't know how many people are familiar with that, but that really is when you look at someone, as an example, today, well, last week I was in Mumbai. In Mumbai, I was speaking at HICSA about similar things, hotel folks. The whole audience was in dark suits, white shirts, dark suits, white shirts. And I'm pleased to say that when I came here today, I see tennis shoes, I can wear jeans, it's more comfortable. But in hotels, they're a little more uptight. Psychographics is basically those people that feel comfortable with dark suits. All of us don't necessarily feel that way, and it drives how we see the rest of life. We want to see things probably a little less formal. We probably feel a little more comfortable with unstructured. Trade area trends is who's winning in the area and why are they winning. And when you go to those restaurants, how do people look? What do they drive? Are the glasses of wine or beer on the table, or whatever? Demographics is pretty simple. Can people afford to go to your restaurants? Are they married, young families, students, whatever? Financial review is, we believe firmly that for every design concept there has got to be an operating concept, and that operating concept has got to be grounded in some kind of financial reality. Functional design basically is putting all that together in a way that, putting that together so that it makes some sense in terms of the concept. I talked about F&B outlets. I hate it. I try to talk about restaurants. Knowing your customer, satisfying their needs and expectations is really important. Now, a lot of the restaurants that we've designed literally have been around from when I was at Kimpton, 25 or 30 years. They're simple concepts, well done, well executed, timeless design, and they will stand the test of time. But you have to make sure that in the market you're in, that these people will relate to them. Creating a space that people truly want to be in is the hard part. This to me is the most important thing. If there's anything that you think that I'm saying makes any sense about, it's this equation. People talk about a lot of things when it comes to restaurants, but there's only one thing that matters when you walk out is your sense of value. You can have great value buying a McDonald's hamburger if you like it and it's cooked properly, or a 2 or 3 star Michelin dinner that you spent 200 euros on. But the quality, the service, the environment is divided by price. It is nothing to do with, was it just great food? If it wasn't great service, if it's not in an environment that you feel comfortable with, and you divide that by the price and you say, I got some value. Value is what keeps people coming back. Aesthetics today is not just a luxury, but it's a universal desire. Why? The internet, TV, movies. You really think about the quality of movies that you see. Do you have Netflix here? How many people have Netflix and you see all the variety, the wonderful things that are on there and the production values of these things, and they cost you what? Like in the US, it's like $14 a month. It's nothing. You go to a movie today, the price, I did this, I checked it once, the prices have gone up 10% in the United States for movie tickets over the last 20 years. But the production value of movies, it's a little bit higher than that 20%, I'll tell you. So people are used to having value. And for you, in the restaurant business, the value comes from walking out and thinking I've had value. But more importantly, they don't have to pay the difference. We have to absorb it, and that absorption comes out in value. So when people make a choice to go out to eat, they're really making a positive choice to feel good. Nobody ever goes to a restaurant and says, oh my God, I've had a horrible day, I really want to feel worse. They want to go there because they want to feel good. So let me just sum up. The way we look at developing a successful restaurant, one, and first of all, is economic feasibility. Two is an intelligent operating model, coherent and consistent design, Everything's got to work together. We heard somebody earlier talk about names. The name, the look, the colors, everything has got to wrap around what people will expect to happen. And then lastly, it's marketing to locals. In the hotel business, they think their customer is in their tower. The reality is if you're going to have a successful business, it's really in your trade area.